This episode brings us to 1998's An American Tale, The Treasure of Manhattan Island, the third film of the series. The third movie pulled us back into New York, away from the Old West and Green River, and wrote the second film off like a dream that never happened, or a prophecy waiting to come true. Even Tanya, the older sister of Fievel, who had aged spiked to that of a teenager in the second movie, had aged back down, but gains another inconsistency with her black nose. Fievel's friend Tony returns, with Bridget written out of the story nowhere to be seen. The two explore an abandoned subway, and after running into a little trouble, they find what appears to be a treasure map. They take the map back to a guy by the name of Dr. Dittering, who had a scheming assistant by the name of Scuttlebutt. Believing there was a treasure on the ground left by Indian mice, the five later follow the map to its destination and find themselves at the mercy of traps trying to stop them from going any further. At the end of the road, they are ultimately caught by an underground tribe of Indian mice, whose ancestors, the Nalape, went into hiding 200 years ago after the Europeans arrived. It was 34 minutes into the movie that we were introduced to the chief's daughter, named Cholina. She was voice played by Elaine Belstrick.
Buonasera, bella signorina.
It was also here Tony found himself some new love candy, Sleaze Bag. The high-spirited Cholina acted as a tour guide and educated both him and Fievel on the ways of her culture. She eventually even gave the two nicknames. Fievel was called Chaluchalus.
In our language, that means cricket.
Tony, on the other hand, was called Pulog.
It is our word for turkey.
Swell.
While the others were being entertained, Scuttlebutt decided to run off and steal from the people who welcomed him into their home, leaving an unwanted bad impression on everybody else. This left Fievel utterly depressed, as he felt he was no different than Scuttlebutt, only coming to seek riches. Cholina, however, didn't hold any grudges against him. She understood that he and his friends didn't plan on Indian mice living underground. Eventually, she does show him their greatest treasure, which was a string of beads telling the history of her tribe, and then tells him that treasure comes in many forms. Lisa Miller soon takes over as Cholina for the singing role, as she lifts Fievel up in song. The scene takes the two to the sky, allowing the little hero to see her entire world from above.
Bully, what you doing? You're gonna get Cholina killed!
When Tony realizes what the two are doing, however, he has a panic attack, as if Cholina was the one who needed protecting. Fievel later gets an idea and requests for her to come see the surface. Her father Wuliso agrees to let her go, but at the same time gives her a task, which was to see if everyone above had changed their deceitful ways. She is welcomed into the Mousewisk home just as much as she welcomed Fievel into hers. Tanya and Mama Mousewisk even make her a brand new dress that she would take with her for her tour around New York. And yes, Tanya was allowed to go along this time. After taking a train ride, seeing the Statue of Liberty and the view from above New York, they stop at a carnival where they take a ride in the Tunnel of Love. It's here Tony tried his luck with Cholina, but instead she uses Fievel as a cootie shield. The tour lastly comes to a boat ride, with the boys being seen worn out from their long adventurous day. Now for the problem. Meet the horrible bosses. They were the employers of both Tony and Fievel's father at the cheese factory. They were textbook definition greedy. They ran their workers into the ground with long hours and very little pay, but more importantly, they loved installing fear into them, because they didn't like the idea of one of them starting an uprising against them, which is why Papa Mousewisk was on their watch list, because he was standing up to them and defending new workers like Tony. It turns out Scuttlebutt was working for them as well by feeding them intel. He told them about a possible lost treasure, then later told them about Cholina and other Indian mice living underground. The factory owners used the Indians as leverage over the workers by inciting racism. They wanted to make themselves look like heroes and make a common enemy out of the tribe. With a mob now racing through the streets and the police joining with them, Papa runs back home to warn everyone that Cholina was in trouble. She has to disguise her hair in order for her to safely blend in and make it back home, but Fievel and the others soon lose her in the middle of the rampaging crowd. Her necklace, which was knocked off, is picked up by Chief McBrusk, who was leading the angry mob at the wishes of the factory owners. Cholina tries to hide behind a can to catch her breath, but when she removes her cloth, she accidentally gives herself away to McBrusk and his subordinates. Before they could act on her, Fievel and Tony ride in, shut the window on them, and get her back. While Papa, Mama, and Tiger were rescuing Dr. Dittering and restoring some sanity, Fievel, Tony, and Tanya finally make it back underground with Cholina. However, by this point, McBrusk, using Scuttlebutt as a GPS, was not far behind. By the time the uninvited make it to their destination, they were forced to retreat immediately when a waiting ambush chased them back towards the exit. Unfortunately, knowing they wouldn't be at peace for long, Chief Wuliso had to make the call of destroying the ancient tunnel with gunpowder. While they did have other ways to the surface, the chief didn't say for safety reasons. This meant Cholena would unlikely ever be seen again. She hugs Fievel and Tanya goodbye. However, Tony manages to receive a goodbye kiss on his departure. At the end of the film, we do get to see Cholena one more brief time, with her father and handmaiden, as she waved goodbye to our little hero from a distance. Thank you all for watching another episode of Furry Girl Profiles. Please remember to leave a like, comment back, and subscribe for future content. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you all for watching Play for Cinema.